Hello everybody and a warm welcome back to Cockpit Drivers Championship CDC. My name is Zabi and we are live with another round, and it is here for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. So that's going to be some fun, and we are right here starting to get out on track. We would have about 6 or 5 drivers, I believe, but it is still going to be fun. I think it would be nothing less than any of the races we've had throughout the season so far. Speed of Temple, isn't it, Monza, as we are now out on it. So I think the action will begin as we have drivers out on track, ready to get out in qualifying. So it'll be 18 minutes during qualifying, of course, as they've got the 18 minutes. They've got time to start to come out on track, do a lap, and then it'll move over. We'll move over to 35% of racing, I believe it is, for tonight, which will be 19 laps of racing, which would be just enough for these 5 drivers. More than enough, I'd say, to go out on track, try and hand if they've got the speed, if they've got the pace to do it all. And certainly, they are going to be doing it all right there. Do we have drivers out on track? Yes, we do. It is Commander X, Speeder, the 2 drivers out on track already. So just before we get started and have a look at the drivers out on track, let's look at the championship standings, where many of the drivers have not showed up today. But as it stands, it is Felix who's at the top ahead of everyone. 91 points, is not racing tonight as well. Same goes for Scooter, who's in 75, with Simpish, who's in 73. Actually, Simpish is not racing tonight as well, which is interesting to see. He's got 73 points, while Reaper has got 68 points. He's certainly got a very good chance to catch up to everybody at the top, because he's currently in 4th place, and out of the top 4, he's the one who is racing tonight, along with Commander X. So these guys could eventually, if not to the top, at least would have a chance to fight Scooter and Simpish there with 75 on 73 points to the other 2 drivers, with Commander X, Reaper and Speeder. All the drivers right there, with Seppi in P7 in the standings with 22 points, while Ferruki, who indeed is racing tonight as well, 19 points to his name. Dree's got 18, 3 to Uzlara, with Faisal and Zaza without a point yet this season. It's GSW, who they've got 159 points throughout the season so far, while OGM and DRD are on 75 and 73 points, with LRT on 59. With AMR and KCT, just 1 point separating the two, 22 for AMR and 21 for KCT. BRT and ERP are same as well, as 19 for one team and 18 for the other, while SMW are yet to score a point this season so far. So let's get it then. We are right here on the track, while Speeder and Commander X have both started their flying laps as well. So they are on it right through the lap and in towards the final middle sector. In fact, running in the middle sector is, at the moment, the man on your screen is Commander X, but ahead of, no, actually that's, yes indeed, ahead of him is Speeder, who is now going to be making his way. There we go. Finally, we are into the session, and hopefully there will not be any problems right there. What about Speeder? Does he go better than his time, or stays where he is on his lap time there? Well, we just come out on track now to look at things, to look at drivers' times so far in the session. So Ferruki is top of them, ahead of everybody. 120.529 from him, 120.563 from Seppi. 0.613 from Reaper and 0.621 from Speeder, while Commander X is 121.8, so he's over a second behind these guys. But well played, I think. Well done, to say the least. That's all. Not well played, but definitely a well driven lap, at least, as we'd hope for the best to get in and get it up on the track, while Speeder is now out on track. There we go. Hopefully there will not be no more problems and everything will stay as it is supposed to. Well, Speeder has invalidated their lap, so that means they will eventually be not completing a lap, at least for the moment right here. As while it stands, yep, they're going to come into the pits. Reaper is out on the track so far. P3 for Gap Reaper at the moment. Essential chance for them to get on. I mean, let me actually have a look at the results of the last couple of weekends. We haven't got it on track. We haven't got it probably on the broadcast setup, but I think we should have results still. And yep, indeed we should have. So from the previous race at Vegas, qualifying results from it. I mean, or rather, actually, race classifications from Japan, from Suzuka. It was in Suzuka with Scooter who won, and Reaper was in P3. Felix was in P3. Sorry, Reaper was in P2. Felix was in P3. Well, the race results in Vegas. Felix won, Scooter in P3, and Reaper was in P3. So 2 podiums in the last 2 races for Gap Reaper. He's certainly got a good chance right there moving forward. He's been quite consistent in terms of on the races that he hasn't made mistakes, on the races where he hasn't lost it, or let's say where he simply has done what he had to do, the simplest. Well, 6800s is Seppi improving by, and pretty much that's all he needs right now. That's all he has to get right now to get better, to have his chances, and be the fastest driver in the session so far. But can they do it? Can he do it there? Because, you know, this could rather be interesting, but it's only like whether he's going to get it or not right there. Eventually, it's all going to be mattering. He's got the final parabolica to go. Will he make that count? Will he make that count and get himself onto the top of the timing session so far? He's got the opportunity, he's got the chance, all up against himself, and he does go over the line, goes pole, ahead of everyone, 120.3337. What about Gap Reaper, he's gonna be the next car over the line, and he will not have he will not have a lap over the line at all. They've got all the information, they've got certain laps to do, while we have Ferrucchi, who's currently in P2. Heading towards turn 1 now into Primaveriente. Towards the end of that first sector. He's got the chance to get it. Ooh, he's got it. He's got certainly 3/10 up. He's 3/10 up on his time. This is now going to be interesting because, you know, he's got all the opportunity. Can he get it done, though? Because that could certainly be interesting right there. Ooh, he's going to be now making their way towards the 2 right-handers. Now onto the back straight. Ooh, now it's going to be pretty much interesting. He's exit of the 2 Lesmos. On the exit 2 Lesmos. Towards the Ascari section on the exit of it, and he's invalidated his lap, and that Ascari section is a pretty hard one to nail. It's not an easy one at all, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not get it right, that's going to be hurting you a lot. What about Commander Rex here, the slowest of them all so far? Goes up to a finding 6/10 of an improvement, but still not enough. It's not enough to find himself get any better than his previous time. Not better than his time. He does improve, but not by position. Certainly just by time there. While Ferrucchi 10 seconds down, which I'd assume that he's simply slowed down. He's decided to slow down right there. Well, are we going to see any other drivers? We're seeing Commander Rex on towards the second chicane there. Will he? Okay, he's certainly going pretty slow. What about the car ahead of Reaper? He's currently out on an outlap there, so certainly he'll need to do better, which he's going to be looking to do better, I'm sure, but what can you do now in these remaining 1.1 minutes right there? That is interesting to get on. They've got the opportunity. What can they do? What are they going to be doing right here? I mean, this is their best opportunity. 20.613 in P2, 5.529 in P2. Well, 337 from Seppi is a pretty good lap so far. Unless somebody else, or unless these guys could catch it up, it would be an interesting thing to see. To get on what we're going to be getting them, what we're going to be eventually actually getting, which you know, they're going to be getting. What about Commander Rex? Has he got another opportunity? No, I think he was going. He's going to be starting his lap now. He's got his half the battery of him is empty, which is interesting to see. He's got half a battery of him is empty, and he's still going to be going for a lap. Of course, I mean he certainly needs to go, but now he's going. What about Ferrucchi here? He couldn't charge it up as well, so possibly I think it's interesting to see, but certainly looks like he's not the battery charging the battery around it doesn't seem to be the best of the parts, or not really easy on the exit, as now he's got to Gap Reaper heading towards the Ascari section there towards turn 7 it is, as he's got the opportunity. I think it won't really be turn 7, I'd say, or would it? I don't think so, but right now he's got to the final back straight. So without the DRS, of course, no DRS, no rear wing opens around here. He's got the famous Parabolica to go. Seppi has taken the checkered flag since he's in the pit lane. What about Gap Reaper? He's got the opportunity of all time to go pole. He does not, or in fact, he does go pole. 119.551. That is absolutely a brilliant lap right there. 119.551. Unless he could be beaten by anybody behind. Ferrucchi's not improving. He's got the final straight to go as well on the exit of the Ascari chicane. What about Commander Rex here? And he's not going to be getting the lap in as well. So that means it is going to be Gap Reaper who takes pole position. If I'm not wrong, that'll be his first pole of the season. What a way and what a track to do it on here at Monza. 119.551, almost 7-8 tenths quicker than the next car behind him. He's done the lap, but he needs a good little race now. He needs a clean race now, which unfortunately in his case we've seen he makes a couple of mistakes sometimes, and that those do ruin his chances. But brilliant lap is interesting to see. Well, still impeding could be the case. Now look at this. These are going to be your qualifying classifications, ladies and gentlemen. Gap Reaper on pole, ahead of Seppi in P2, with Ferrucchi in P3, Speeder in P4, and Commander X is going to be the final driver in P5. Eventually, we're here at round 6, the second half of the season we're entering into. So that's going to be a certain opportunity for drivers to take for everybody. I mean, not only Reaper, not only one or two drivers in here out of 5. All 5 of these guys have certainly got the opportunity to go again. Go in the race. Even if you're finishing P5, the least thing they want right here is a DNF, because considering in a P5 people race, you simply want to finish the race. As long as you finish, it's pretty much going to be the end. It's pretty much what you needed. That's all you needed. So it would be certainly an interesting feature to see what these guys are going to be getting moving forward, considering they've got the opportunity, they've got the chance to get on tonight. So are they going to be getting it done? Are they going to be making the most of it? It's on them. It'll be on their shoulders to try and do what they've got in front of them. I think we should have a couple of minutes of break, or at least for everybody to set up. And there we go. Someone keeps starting right away. I think at least everybody does. We get to hear about it that do not start, but certainly I think, unfortunately, there we go. We're going to be getting started. There should be a formation lap right there, and indeed will be a formation lap right out there. It'll be a chance now for Reaper to warm up his tires, for Seppi to warm his tires the best, for Ferrucchi as well. I think 19 laps, so we could actually possibly see a one-stop strategy here, considering only 19 laps. We're going to be going racing for. What about the strategy? And that is going to be expected. 4 out of 5 drivers are on a set of sub-medium tires. Only Commander X on a set of softs. And I think possibly the only opportunity, or only reason, you'd think that he's certainly went for a set of softs there would be, he's starting in P5. He probably was down in pace there as compared to everybody else. So his best opportunity, he goes a little bit wide. In fact, he's, okay, I think he's slowing down. He's actually overtaking even the race leader, which is not sure why would he do that, or maybe he simply outbraked himself into on the exit of the second Lesmo there. But now this is all evolving left and right. I think medium tire would need a little bit of more temperature than the soft tire, but obviously the soft tire does need it as well if you're going to be very cold on that, no matter what. Let's say if you're going to be 50 degrees or 50 or 60 degrees on the soft tire, you certainly will not have much grip. You do need actually 70 plus degrees on that soft tire to be as relevant or as grippy as you want it to be, especially at the start of a race, and you're trying to keep it smooth. Okay, I just hope that into turn one, these guys are going to be okay. These guys are going to be at least staying away from each other in terms of not trying to move each other or not trying to hit one another. And there we go. Time is ready. Qualifying is over and race is in front of us right there. It is Reaper on pole, Seppi in P2, followed by Ferrucchi in P3. 5 red lights and we go racing here at the Italian Grand Prix on the medium tire. The top two are. It's a decent start for Reaper, but it's a brilliant start for Seppi who takes the lead straight away. And Reaper, Speeder has already retired out of the session. Speeder has already retired out of the session. I wonder if he hit the wall on the start of the corner. At the start of this lap, on the start of this race now, and Reaper has taken back the lead. That is not sure what's going on. Seppi's pretty much slowing down. I think Seppi cut the corner, but maybe he would have overtaken Reaper off the track as well. He simply let him get past there, so that's going to be interesting now because we only had 5 good drivers starting. Eventually, we now have only 4 remaining right there, which is not the sight we were looking to see. But that's interesting to just get on. I wonder what we're going to be doing because do we get a restart or do we continue of what we have right there? Because we're anyways going right there and just all right, that's it. I think we're getting Speeder tried to go on the inside line of one of the drivers, and I believe that would have been Ferrucchi maybe because he was right with. No, it was actually Commander X who was pretty much in the bottom. So I'm not sure what exactly would have happened because we didn't even know what happened there because we were certainly focused at the top, and by the we didn't even get to turn one, I believe. By the time we were about to get towards turn one, it just was simply he crashed out. He lost the car, maybe lost the car, either hit the wall or probably crashed, or probably they made contact with one of the other drivers. But looking at others, well, we've went green once more. Commander X already on the inside and have a chance into turn one to get past Seppi there, and he will get past Seppi, or does he though? Seppi's going to stay around the outside. He's going to go absolutely wide, will Commander X, and he'll get a 10-second time penalty. 10 seconds in time penalty for Commander X for cutting the corner. I mean, he certainly, I believe, would have had his feet on the accelerator, because if you do not have your feet on the accelerator, it generally actually doesn't give you a penalty. As now it's going to be Ferrucchi. He goes absolutely wide. He's going to try and to rejoin on the track. I don't think he did it correct way, but still, that's okay as there was nobody at least behind him. So that is interesting, but eventually that's what we're going to be having right here. Well, Reaper is 4.5 seconds ahead of everybody, with Seppi on a 3-second time penalty to his name, followed by Commander X, who's got 10 seconds in time penalties. Everybody on a set of medium so far by the situation we've got right here, apart from Commander, who's on a set of softs right there. I think this is going to be interesting. A bit of a overtaking, switching positions between Commander X and Ferrucchi. It was overtaken by Commander X, then Commander X overtook him back again, which Ferrucchi lost. Ferrucchi went a little bit wide at the end of that first sector, certainly lost the car as well. So this is now going to be interesting moving forward, because we had 5 cars to start with. We've now only have 4, but it could be interesting though. I mean, apart from Reaper's 5.7 seconds, I mean, Nothing against him, Reaper, here, but sometimes Reaper does make those mistakes, and then he does unfortunately make those silly mistakes, and if he is to do that, it would bring the pack together. Other than that, 1.1 seconds to Commander and Veruki. I think it was a slight mistake from Veruki would catch it up. Back again. Well, he might have just made a mistake, and it would have been Veruki, and it is Veruki. He ran a little bit wide on the exit there and found a bit of gravel, and on the exit of the Lesmos, into the Lesmos they go, as the DRS will be open, and the rear wing will open on Commander's car. Is it open? Yes, it is, and definitely that extra speed for on Commander's car might just allow him to get closer, but it will not be close enough. But has he got the battery? Has he got the ERS to charge up on? In fact, both the drivers are pretty much on similar amount of ERS. Commander is using it. Veruki is not, and Commander's now out of the deployment of it as well, which you certainly run out of. And now, Ferric is lost out to Seppi as well, which is over a second. Is now 3.8 seconds between these drivers. It will be interesting to see also how much they these tires last for them, medium versus soft tires. Well, Commander X is going to switch to the inside line, probably to go side by side with Veruki into it. Turn one, is he going to be later on the brakes? They're both nearly a side by side and pretty close to each other in turn one. They might have just made a contact, not sure though, because Veruki's car slightly turn a bit ghost to ghost, I believe, as Commander will get past Veruki there. Veruki is in P4 there with the 6 tenths behind Commander, and you know, Commander on those soft tires likely will have as he goes wide as Veruki just did not brake where he should have done so, and that could be the issue. That could be the things. And sometimes, you know, eventually these are the things. These are the possible outcomes of races eventually, because you don't need to make these mistakes. You don't need to be doing these smallest very little mistakes, which could possibly gain or lose you time. Well, look at this. Veruki, has he got enough battery? He certainly has got slightly less than Commander X is, but Commander is using. Veruki is not using now. He's going to be within 1 second, so look at that. It'll be interesting to see these guys on the main straight, because DRS around here is almost very powerful as well. If you've got the car within half a second, it would be interesting. 7.5 tenths separating these two. And I think what Commander unfortunately did previously was he switched to the side of Veruki far too early, because I don't think Veruki is going to be enough to make the move, or rather will he? No, he will not. But yeah, so basically what Commander on the previous lap unfortunately did was that eventually he got past him, but he could have got him past him very early. That he didn't take the slipstream. He had the ERS, but he switched to the side of him quite early. I think had he stayed a little bit behind him, possibly it's, you know, it's a certain possibility that it would have been easy. Well, Veruki's lost it again. We saw him make mistakes around the same exact corner 2 times before, and he makes it 3, as now he's sliding around, narrowly avoiding walls out there. That could be interesting there, because certainly these things are to take on. These things are to be taken into consideration with all of this to move forward. Now, look at this. Eventually, this is all we've got. This is all we have in front of our hands, in front of our screens, to get on with what we're going to be getting, what we are to have moving forward so far. But well, look at this. Is Commander into the pits? Yes, he is. 5 laps on these tires, then maximum it is for the soft tire runner to get out and about, as he's going to be now into the pits to get on a set of medium tires, which I believe should see him go to the end. But interesting, Veruki's into the pits as well, but I believe he'd have a front wing damaged, and indeed he does have a damaged front wing. He's going to go on the set of hard compound tire, which would see them okay to the end as well, while Reaper and Seppi have decided to still stay out. These two have got over 32 seconds to the next car behind them. So it could be an interesting fight between these two if Seppi could pull closer, or he could get closer to Rex there. But in terms of penalties, Commander didn't pay his 10-second time penalty, which is interesting, because He's came into the pits, but his 10-second penalty has not been served. As he's now got another 3-second time penalty, so his penalties now add up to over 13 seconds, while Seppi's got 3 seconds. It would be interesting whether Reaper, I think, is going to still at least stay out till, I'd say, lap 13, lap 14, because sure, if it was, if it was a 50% race, maybe the medium tire wouldn't have been able to do that many laps, but in a 25% race, it might just be able to do that many laps, because a lot depends on, what and what not you can do, or tire, tire degradation and tire wear also depends. Let's say if actually in terms of that, then maybe you might be able to do less laps on these medium tires, or more than considering how many he would have been able to do in a 50% race. But basically, if you're doing a 100% race, let's say a medium tire in a 50% race does 9 laps, in a 100% race, it's going to do more, because obviously you have to cover more laps. It certainly will automatically will do a lot more laps to help you to get further away, to get further laps on those tires. Lap 7 out of 19. We've moved to lap 8, so we're certainly moving towards the first half of the race to be done. It isn't done yet though, but we could be getting it done so far. Right there is what we have. Our race leader 6.9 seconds ahead of the next car. They've certainly got the job done right there, but for how long will they get it done? For how long would they be able to keep it there? Because currently, you could say, I think the penalty to Seppi would hurt, in terms of even if he is to overtake or get closer to Reaper, getting closer to him or overtaking him would certainly be a lot harder than overtaking him, and also getting the job done right out there. So eventually, it would be interesting to see, I think, as especially the ending parts of the lap. Let's see, we're on lap 8 now. We'll head over to lap 9. Pretty much 9.5 laps would get complete halfway through this race. But 6.5 seconds. It is coming down now. The gap was almost 7 seconds, 6.9 seconds. Maybe Reaper has made a mistake. Maybe Reaper has done whatnot, a thing there. Or it could be interesting to see what we're going to be getting right there, because maybe after the pit stops, it could be something that we are not seeing just yet. Obviously, I'd assume they're going to go onto a set of soft tires, because they're definitely going to, they still will, I'd say they'd stay out at least till lap 12. I'd say so, lap 12 of 13 on those tires. Eventually, I'd believe so, and if they're to do that, then it would be them. And there we go. It won't be the case, at least for Seppi. They're going to come into the end of this, but they're going to go on set of hard. So that obviously would have been the best opportunity to do a hard, medium hard strategy. But certainly, if you are to go for a set of, to a set of soft tires, you definitely would need to do a lot more laps on those mediums to help you. But I think Seppi in here has done one thing, that if he's put in a set of hards, right, he's got the chance of an undercut against Reaper there, which certainly opens up his chances, certainly opens up his chance to get better. But now he would possibly have a chance of an undercut, or maybe not, because 32 seconds ahead, actually, which is interesting. I'm not sure how did that happen, unless really Seppi made a mistake or something, but if it is 32, if there's a chance for an undercut, at the moment it looks like if Reaper now pits, it'll be an overcut. But even if he is able to get a free pit stop now, because there's 9 laps on these mediums, and I'd assume he's going to go onto a set of hards as well, because yep, he's on a set of hards, which is interesting. So nobody using the medium soft tire, because anyways would have been pretty difficult to get that soft tire in, because if Reaper was to get a soft tire here, even if he was going to try and catch up to it, or he was going to try and get to the end on that soft tire, it would have been very difficult. One, he would have had not much grip at all, pretty much not any grip at all, and then also one thing which would have been pretty risky is Commander X is going to come into the pits again, which is interesting. He's going to get a free pit stop, I'd say, unless he's made a mistake to get a front wing replace. He has not, but I think he would have tried to come in and pay that serve that 10-second time penalty, but he is not going to be doing that, which is, or has he done that already? No, he hasn't. He's definitely going to go to the end of this race on these hard tires now. Probably, I mean, not a lot is now remaining, so it's pretty much what we have, and he's gonna think, okay, I'm gonna take P4. I'm gonna settle for P4 because he anyways has over 13 seconds in penalties. So even if he does get closer to P3, there is very minimal chances that he's gonna get that P3. So I think he could simply have his best chances, or think that, okay, this is my best chance out there, and I'll get it done. Lap 11 out of 19, 10.6 seconds to the car as our race leader at the moment. And actually, Reaper might just have a grand slam here. It is. He's lapped every single lap. He's led every single lap. I wonder if he has got fastest lap right here. We could have a look at that. We could have a check on whether yes, he has got the fastest lap, and I believe that would be a grand slam if he's able to do that. I mean, one could argue it's only in 4 drivers, but it is what it is. It is simply is what it is, and this is what you have to. I mean, it's like, sure, those who aren't here it's a different story, but those who are here have the same, you could say, same amount of chances, right? He's got the same amount of chances. He's got the same, everybody's got same opportunity to take as much as it is for the Reaper there, which is a brilliant one. I think it's fastest lap in for Prolin pole position in qualifying, fastest lap so far in the Grand Prix, has led every single lap so far, and is nearly leading by 15.1 seconds here, with moving into lap 12 out of 19. So definitely all is in their control, all is in their favor so far. While Seppi is in P4 with Ferruki in P3. Commander X is in P4. While Speeder is the only driver who we've lost so far, and we've lost in this session. We lost him quite early, which was, a not a good sight to see in terms of what happened there for him. But I'd assume if they make, I'm not sure whether they made contact with the driver, or they made contact on their own, or simply at the start they couldn't hold it off and lost the car, because that's pretty much the only couple of consequences you could think of, right? If you haven't even gotten past turn 1 and the driver is already out of the race, which would possibly, be for a couple of reasons what you want to know, in terms of there weren't even many drivers as well. Let's say if there were 20 drivers or 15, 16 drivers, only then, if you were to get closer or get hit by one or the other driver, then okay, it's fine. Drivers could collide with each other, with many drivers. With only 5, it's a pretty complicated situation, ain't it, to see a driver get dropped off. Now, I think, looking back at the previous races, the previous results from round 1, it was, let's see, go back to Bahrain, round 1 it was. Oh, it was actually round 2 eventually. after round 2, which then, yeah, after round 2, the season's... these are the standings. We're not looking for standings, actually. We're looking for results, I'd say. And, yep, we need to get on the race results. So, race results from Bahrain. It was Simpish who won. He was not racing tonight. Well, Commander X, it was in P2, actually, in that race. Reaper was P3, so achieved P3, didn't he, there? So, achieved P3 there, then moving then into... is it race results? Or yep, it is race results, indeed. While in China, we went... I believe we had a sprint, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember it correctly, of whatnot. But from sprint in China, it was Scooter who won after a last lap mistake from Felix, who finished in P2. Our Reaper was in P3. There are other drivers, obviously, but just counting on the top 3 right now. Simpish was P4 there in China, with the Rex, Ferrucci, and Speeder in P5, 6, and 7. These guys were. While in Saudi, it was a chaotic race. A lot of DNFs, actually, I believe we had that race. Yeah, we only had the top 3 finish this race. Now, going back to Saudi, it was only the top 3 drivers who finished this race. It was Felix, Simpish, and Commander X. So Commander X has got a podium this season as well. While in Suzuka, it was Scooter, Felix, and Reaper finishing in P2. So Reaper got a podium in Japan and a podium in Las Vegas as well. So he certainly has been a quite consistent podium finisher so far in the last couple of races. So he certainly, after 2 podiums, to finish on the top step is not bad at all. It's not a bad problem or certainly a thing that would hurt him at all. It definitely would. I think it would feel even special. Sure, it's a confidence that you need as a driver sometimes. Unfortunately, his, let's say his race in Jeddah, he was doing a decent job up until he lost the car and had a DNF. So suddenly, the confidence that you need, the mistakes that might have been happening the first couple of races, wouldn't be happening now anymore, or at least you'd think that, okay, now I've got it more perfected in terms of the competition. Obviously, you got to work around the competition, and I think so far, out of the 3 that we have, he has to be the best driver there. 27 seconds he's leading by ahead of Seppi in P2, followed by Ferrucci, who's out in about 4.2 seconds to Seppi, but even if he does catch up to him, I think in the end, trying to overtake him could be quite difficult with the amount of laps remaining there, with Commander X in P4, 11.1 seconds behind. He's got over 13 seconds of time penalty, so has Seppi. So even if Ferrucci does not get past Seppi here, a P2 finish could be on the cards for him. Everyone on the set of hearts, 9 laps for Ferrucci, 5 laps for Commander X, and 6 laps for Seppi with 5 laps to Reaper as well. But now that could indeed be interesting right here, because if Ferrucci's just able to get closer to get 3 seconds, or within 3 seconds of Ferrucci, of Seppi here, a podium will be his way, which is a certain chance I think he shouldn't let go of, because he for a moment was gaining, and he indeed is gaining on him slightly, but then he lost out on the previous lap a little bit, I believe, 3.8 seconds, and it's the 8/10ths that he needs to get off in the remaining 4 laps right here, and if he's able to do that, that would mean it is all he needs to get. So P2 is up for grabs, but only if he could get it. He'd obviously is still going to be finishing on the podium, Seppi, even if he does lose that 3 seconds to Ferrucci, but it'll be that second place, which it will be taken from him. And right, look at that, 3.7 seconds. It was 3.4 or 3.3, I believe, at one point, but alright, he's gaining again, so maybe it's not going to be enough, because he's certainly gaining it in some parts of the track, but he's losing in the others, so maybe it's not really the best, I'd assume, because this is what it's looking like so far. Lap 17 out of 19 now. It is not a lot that remains. It is not a lot that we have to watch out for in the remaining races as it stands so far. So that could be interesting right there. But you know what to do. You know what you're going to be getting right there while it is all considering right here so far. But you know eventually what we're going to be getting or what you will be right there. Lap 18 to the second last lap of this race, and Reaper, who will be very excited to get it on. Got the fastest lap, got pole position in qualifying, has led every single lap so far, has got the fastest lap in this race to their name as well. And by the looks of it, they're going to keep that as well. And a performance to take on, a performance to look at so far, which would be a brilliant one to say the least. Even if he is not able to get that fastest lap, it would still certainly is a brilliant one. 23.055 is the fastest lap indeed, and they will have that to their name. I think Tire Life, they've got 8 laps. They actually have got the freshest of tires of anybody, so I don't think anybody's going to be catching up and getting that fastest lap. And those 3 seconds we were thinking Ferrucchi was going to get closer to Seppi. He unfortunately hasn't been able to do that, and that is the reason. He slightly goes a little bit wide there, and he was making mistakes around that specific corner. So I'd assume that presumably he probably would have done that a lot more often. I think that possibly has been, unfortunately, the reason for him to not get closer to Seppi, though. But I think he wouldn't really mind that, at least now, considering that he's still going to be getting a P3. You know, he's still going to be getting a P3. He was going to get a P3 anyways, even if he gets overtaken by Commander X there, because Commander's got so many laps, so many seconds remaining eventually. By, you know, at the moment, which eventually could be right interesting. And now look at this. Got Reaper on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Final lap here at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. And what a race he's had. What a weekend, to say the least. One could argue he started only with 5 drivers, but he was best of the rest right there that we have right now. And I think it is what we're going to be certainly fighting or looking at and comparing them all. It was going to be Gap Reaper, who took pole in qualifying, did not hold back at all since lap 1. He's led every single lap in this race with the fastest lap to his name. He's got the famous Parabolica to go now. The man, he has absolutely dominated this race here at the Italian GP. Is going to win here at Monza, and Gap Reaper wins the Italian Grand Prix, finishes first, and by a dominant style, over 27 seconds to the next car. And brilliant. That has to be brilliant there. And look at that. It's going to be Seppi, who's got 3 seconds in time penalties. Had the challenge of Ferrucchi, catching up to him within 3 seconds. But he did not hold back and kept his foot to the floor. He's going to take P2 on the track and should be P2 at the end of the track as well. And Ferrucchi, a fair share of issues and mistakes, still manages to get P3, and well done to him there. While Commander Rex, he was simply on his own, but still will get P4. And well done. That'll be the end of this race, ladies and gentlemen. 19 laps of racing, and we've got to the end of it finally. And a brilliant congratulations to Gap Reaper, who takes victory ahead of everyone and wins the Italian Grand Prix. That's his first win of the season, and it had to be done in style. Brilliant race. Brilliant from our race winner. 25 points to their name, but a lot of points for others as well. So I think everybody will be happy in this race, considering 25 for Reaper, Seppi, 18 while 15 for Ferruki and 12 points for Commander X as well. Well, Speedor will be disappointed with themselves. Had they finished, they could have at least got 10 points. With 5 drivers out there, I think they had only themselves to beat, and unfortunately they couldn't do it today. But look at that. These are your classifications for the race, ladies and gentlemen. Here at the Italian GP, Capripa finishes in P1 with Seppi in P2, followed by Ferruki in P3 right there, with Commander X in P4. And that's all we've got right here, and that is it. That's going to be the end then, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to our winner and our podium finishers there. We're going to be getting to the end, and we've got to the end of the Grand Prix. That is it. Right there. It's and from all of us here at Cockpit Drivers Championship, and my name is B. We're out. Bye-bye. See you next time.